is just an attempt to give us some clarification on what is being circulated in social media vis-a-vis the invitation by the House of Rep Committee on FEMA. Number one, let me say that I was not physically present, nor my PAM secretary, because nobody can talk to me like that in my presence. It's not possible. Number two, it was to discuss the budget 2025 of FEMA. And he went into the job of Senate Committee and House Committee on Works. And it's very unfortunate. And from what he gathered, he thought possibly working with some contractors who are not happy with the reform in the Ministry of Works. He thought I was going to be removed. And so his anger is, why was I not removed? Because that's the basic reason to have veered off totally from the issues he called for discussion. And his type is very damaging to the very wonderful institution of the National Assembly, especially the 10th National Assembly. For the respect of Mr. Speaker, and of course the Senate President, and the National Assembly institution that I belong to, I will refrain myself from joining issues with him. He said, I have failed. And if a blind man is to assess you, your gaze is as good as mine. Because if he has no knowledge of anything, then his knowledge becomes his God. So I will not join issues with him. But no one in life ever said that I failed. And I've never failed in anything I'm involved in. And if he likes, he should go and check my pedigree from the day I graduated and my pedigree in the university as a businessman before I became party chairman, deputy governor, senator, and minister now. I believe that God has to be with him to attain half of what I've attained in life. And so I will not join issues with him because I have very tremendous respect for Mr. Speaker and the National Assembly. But I will try to put, some clarification. He said I was involved in less priority issues in Ministry of Works. Yes, he's right, because he sounded as if he was representing the contractors. And what were the issues in Ministry of Works? The issue of variation on price, VOP. And that was a very terrible program that was, eroding the little resources we put in the budget to do projects. Before we came on board, there were these issues of variation on price. There were this issue of CPI, that is a foreign exchange differential. Some contractors were claiming them. Essentially, two of them are the same. But that less priority that he thought about was that we stopped them. I will have no regret stopping them. There's no reason why we should award projects in the month of October, and in the month of November, you are asking us to pay variation on price. So we refuse to do that. There's no reason why you're given a project and you're paid mobilization, and you still want us to pay you variation on the amount of mobilization we have paid to you. That may be what he thought is less priority, and so on and so forth. And let me say to him that the projects Mr. President inherited was a total of 2,604 projects. As at May 29, 2023, total cost was 13 trillion. That's what the president inherited. And a debt to contractors of 1.6 trillion. And when you look at the variation by reason of the obvious subsidy removal, by the reason of the floating of the dollar, you'll find out that if you review all these projects, you will see that you will get over 19 trillion, the total ongoing projects. And Mr. President did what no any other president did. He manifested all the projects in 2024 budget with the hope to give him time to look for resources, including loans, to do these projects. I wasn't in that meeting, and there is no way I was going to complain of resources to fix our roads, because Mr. President has given very special attention to Ministry of Works. He has paid so much attention to the sufferings of Nigerians, vis-a-vis the roads situation. And that's why in 2023 supplementary, he approved 300 billion to take care of a number of palliatives. And I know the chairman of FEMA also mentioned it. By next week, we are going to publish what success we've achieved in those 300 billion projects. We used it to procure over 330 roads, palliatives, and bridge repairs, which were properly procured and properly executed. Today, we have achieved over 85% completion. And so when we publish it, I want him to go there, if he can leave his oversight in FEMA, and he can go and check these projects. And I'm going to put the phone number of the contractors and then put the status, and he can verify. And when he verifies, I request that he tenders an unreserved apology, because all he did was to represent the contractors and incite the public against the government that brought him in. And it's very unfortunate, because when you darken counsel without knowledge, you are inciting the public. So we're going to publish the projects. And we will be able to, in this briefing, tell you the total amount of 2023 supplementary appropriation and how much we have certified, how much projects we have certified. I hope the P&D should give me that figure. The same thing with 2024 and how much we certified to date. And that will let him know the tremendous success we have achieved in Ministry of Works. There is no way you expect some projects that have lasted 20 years, 18 years, 17 years, you expect it to be done in 1 year. And if he says he's an engineer, he should try and understand the processes that are involved in Ministry of Works. It's different from, his procurement of fertilizer with his, constituency project. There are two different things. You have to go to the field, you have to measure the project, you have to design it, you have to do in-house procurement to look at it. When I say in-house procurement, it's to ensure that the prices are right within the directors. And then you have to now send it to the BPP for the kind of procurement you want to do. And BPP gives you the objection, then you now have to advertise or do selective tendering and invite contractors. And then after that, you send to BPP for no objection. Depending, if it is more than 5 billion, you have to send it to Federal Executive Council. When it comes, you have to now do agreement, and then now the process of construction. You know, people believe that if a road is 100 kilometers and the success you've made when you have done pavement of 10 kilometers is that you've done 10%. No, that is not the way Ministry of Works or the projects are assessed. Some earthworks take a whole 1 year to be done. And when you're doing the earthwork, you have to allow it to consolidate, because part of the failures of our roads is because of the method statement, the method deployed in the construction. You see people, they will come and do earthwork, compact, of course. It doesn't give it 1 month, and they start to put stone base and asphalt. Of course, it will fail. So those times that you are preparing the subgrade, the subbase, the base course before the pavement, what do you call it? It's not valued as progress made, because people value what they do not understand. And so those processes are part of the success of the road construction. Some road construction take 1 year for you to have meaningful completion in terms of this is the number of kilometers we've achieved in terms of the pavement structure. He said we are awarding projects that we are not ready to execute. And that's where the oversight function comes in. You have the records of what we have awarded. Each time projects are awarded, we go to the press and we announce it. And so it is your duty to now go through those places to find out whether these projects are awarded to our brothers and sisters that are not executed or executed. Talk is very cheap. And when you represent a different opinion and pretend that you are talking about a different opinion, you see a lot of bitterness. And so you darken counsel without knowledge. That is not true. If there is something we are successfully doing, is to ensure that when a project is awarded, we go through the sites. The director from time to time are sent to the field, apart from the controllers. I move round the 6 geopolitical zones, examine projects, talking to contractors, pushing contractors. We've terminated over 10 projects following due process. Some of them have lasted 17 years, 18 years. And so we are doing very, very well. He queried the assessment. I asked him to come for open debate with me. I'm sure he's not a civil engineer, but in his own field, I will debate him in engineering. He can talk to me about any other field, but he can't talk to me about the field of engineering. This is one thing that God gave me, and I'm grateful to God. When you invite us, of course, he will not invite this ministry again. We will not attend to his invitation unless Mr. Speaker directs otherwise. Because this is the same man that they had public function, FEMA in Lagos, and he was insulting me. And again, he was insulting me. And I don't want, for the respect for the National Assembly, I don't want to talk deep about all the bitterness, but it's all about pretext. His real reason, he has not said. But our hands are clean, and we've defined no procurement. His job is to oversight FEMA projects. And he left FEMA projects he began to talk about Ministry of Works. But he's also free to come for us to educate him on what we are doing in Ministry of Works. Gentlemen of the press, we have done tremendously very well in a number of our projects. Of course, there is no amount of resources that can fix 2,604 projects in 1 year. It's not possible. It's not possible. The details of the projects, the 300 billion is here. The progress made is all here. I'm going to ask the Director of Information to get it published so that Nigerians will see the tremendous efforts Mr. President has done in improving our road infrastructure. If I take some of the few efforts we have made, for example, in the Northwest, the Abuja-Kano, we have given a Beja, 7 days, which will lapse on Wednesday, to go back to site based on the conditions that we believe that will not allow for more games. We've been with Beja for the whole of 14 months, negotiating and negotiating. I would say that negotiation must have to stop. If by Wednesday they are now back to site, we will issue notice of termination, and we will do selective tendering and get not less than 3 contractors. The section 1 and the last section we've sent to BPP. We're supposed to do it on tax credit, but we didn't get approval on tax credit, so we are awarding it. And so we've sent it to BPP to give us no objection for selective tendering because it's very urgent. But that notwithstanding, we have awarded an emergency project to get the entire stretch totally repaired so that there will be no pothole throughout the entire stretch while we go ahead with the permanent works. And so in 2 weeks, you will not see any pothole. You will drive through the entire stretch, and you will not feel any pothole. The Sokoto, Funtua, Katsina, Kaduna Road is being done by 3 contractors. We have the first section in Sokoto to Zamfara. It's done by CBC. It's on concrete pavement. We've done over 15 kilometers of concrete pavement over there. In the Zamfara section, going towards, Funtua, is done by Cetraco. We've had a lot of, insecurity issues. Expatriates has been killed. The contractors' workers been abducted, over 50 of them, not less than 5 times. That notwithstanding, through the help of Mr. President, as he directed the National Security Advisor, we have not demobilized from there. They are assisting tremendously in providing security. We are still forging ahead. And that project is over 60%, done. And then you get to the other section of tractor, and mother cat, going towards Katsina and ending at Kaduna. Jobs are also ongoing, and we've completed those projects over 60%. You get to, a number of projects in South-South. You look at the Eleme Junction to Ne. It's 15 kilometers by 2, that's 30 kilometers. When we came on board, it was already awarded by the previous administration, 152 billion. And it was to be done on asphalt. But we looked at the traffic there. We had to redesign it, maintaining the same cost. And we designed it by saying, look, you have to dig most of the section, dig it by 1 meter, fill it with lumps, fill it with sharp sand, and then put stone base, and then allow it for traffic to be on it for 30 days, and then put, reinforced concrete there, 8 inches. And it's been done, and it is a very beautiful work. Over 4 kilometers has been achieved to date by RCC. You look at the bypass we are building at Akwa Ibom. The bypass is about 19 kilometers. It's done by Jito Company. It was awarded before we came on board. So we have to take over that project. These projects were zero achieved as at the time we took over. So we had to change the design again because of the terrain passing through swamp, because we feel that asphalt is not good with rain. So we redesigned it on concrete pavement, and that job is going on very well with Chito. And then you look at Aba to Incompetent. It's been done by GCCGC, and the project is about 70% done. 70% is achieved under our tenure. And then you now get to Lokoja, Benin. There are 4 sections. They were awarded, lasted over 8 years. And the only CGC was doing well. We had to terminate the other 3. And we are sending the procurement to BPP, this week. And so these projects we are talking about were all inherited projects. Our total budget in 2024 was about 650 billion. That's the one, the Federal Ministry of Works, outside the constituency projects of the National Assembly, and that of FEMA, and of course, recurrent expenditure. And what we did is that we used over 90% of these funds to keep all the inherited projects alive, as directed by Mr. President. Because a project has to be alive and in the budget before you can look for funds to assist it, to be completed. And that's what we've done. And so for those who are bitter that we have no projects to award to them, this is the reality. And don't forget that before we had housing and the works together, where you have a number of small projects, solar light, library building, school building, renovations, and it was under a special project unit. But today, it is no longer with us. We are involved in mega projects, and that's why you cannot easily see all such assistance that used to be Ministry of Works. So the 3 sections, we are also doing everything possible to maintain the roads. Yesterday I was called that between Ekpoma and going to Benin, that there are 4 locations that are terribly bad. And they have looked at it and they have procured it. Now there is no ongoing project there. So we have to look for where there is an ongoing project, and we beg the contractor to come and help us to fix it so that people will be passing. 2,600 projects plus 330 supplementary projects plus the new projects in 2024. It's not a party. It requires commitment. It requires dedication, which we are doing. We work on Saturdays, we work on Sundays, we work on public holidays. And somebody will come and say we are giving attention to less priority issues without mentioning those less priority issues that we are giving attention to. The success of the Ministry of Works is the amount of, roads we have improved upon. And so, the Benin to worry, we also have very terrible situation there. And again, we had to redesign the projects to be done on concrete. And project is ongoing there. You go to Southwest, we inherited the Lagos Ibadan. With Beja, we have finished this section, section A, in over Lagos Ibadan. We are still battling with RUCC to finish their own section, the Lagos Ibadan. We have about 8.5 kilometers not yet completed, and a few wearing course Ibadan bound. We are working on that. And then this second phase of it, we have terminated, and then we have called for, selective tendering to address it. You see Shagamu Tore, which is about 60 kilometers, and it is over 12 years under RUCC. We have terminated it, we have built high-tech that is very close to that construction, their construction for Ogun State government. And they have started to repair the road all through the 60 kilometers. We are doing that. I don't want to talk about the legacy projects. The second, the Kata Bridge, the 10 mainland bridge. You know, people see the beautiful work we have done on the deck of the slab, but they don't know what we inherited in terms of the underdeck, you know, infrastructure, and they don't know what we inherited in terms of, you know, the pilings, you know, the infrastructure within the water. It's a very complex situation, but we are tackling it. I was very frightened when the Junobeja doing the work came to tell me that there is a chlorination within the pipe caps, especially in Kata Bridge. And it has penetrated the pipe cap over 10 cm, which means that it has discovered the reinforcement, and that's very dangerous. We've reached out internationally to look for companies that can work with us to handle this. There are a lot of corrosion on the piers. There is deflection of the underdeck slab of the 10 mainland bridge. That's why we closed the 10 mainland bridge, you know, for big trucks. We are doing all that. We procured it and work is going on. Within the marine section, marina, the federal government infrastructure and of course the rail lines of Lagos State government are deeply threatened. We procured that project and it's ongoing very well. We've achieved over 30%. I'm talking about what we have done in the past 14 months. In the past 14 months, we brought in divers to go and they check the situation of all the piles within the Kata Bridge, Ito Bridge, and the Top Mainland Bridge. We inherited Eko Bridge and Independence Bridge. They are over 11 kilometers, totally burnt. We are replacing the bearings. We are replacing a lot of the tendons of the beams and the slabs. We are doing that. We are working on a number of projects in Lagos State. The Lekki Deep Sea Port, we are doing that. We are working on a Itoki Ikorodu Road, you know, Shagamu Itoki Road. We are working on Badagry Road, and a lot of other intervention projects in Lagos State, in Ogun State, in Ekiti State. But these things cannot be done overnight. Our Ministry of Works is not the only, you know, ministry in this country. Mr. President has a lot of other challenging situations. The palliatives is doing great in agriculture, in our energy, in our education, in our health, but he has given priority attention to Ministry of Works. And he should be commended for what he's doing. And the ministry should be commended. It's very unfortunate that a lot of contractors who by right are not supposed to be contractors are going up and down, you know, inducing people to be talking anyhow. If you have issues with Ministry of Works, don't quote it. Engage us, even publicly. Let us discuss it. But I know that I know this job. And I know that I'm doing this job very well. So I believe strongly that the man should tell the public what his problems are. He's not telling the public what his problems are. And I'm not the one to divulge what his problems are. He should be the one that will tell the public what his problems are. But I've been able to clear this We are working very hard. Mr. President is supporting us. Mr. President is committed to, reviving the infrastructure that failed. Some roads lasting 20 years, 18 years. There is no projects we have taken on. Look at the Plateau Shandam Bridge that failed. Within 9 months, we rebuilt it. That's the new Minister of Works. So we are not delaying any project. We even had to give out, some numbers to say, if you see a contractor abandoning site or doing bad jobs, please send report to this and we will compensate you. We will give you an allowance for doing that. And I think that is what, our master is supposed to be doing in oversighting us. Not to call us and be insulting us. We are your servants, yes, but not houseboys. We are not houseboys. You can't call us at our level. I've been a senator too. And then you are insulting us. It's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. We have tremendous respect for the institution of National Assembly, especially the 10th National Assembly. The presiding officers are wonderful people with very high level of respect and integrity. And I commend them very highly. And I want to appeal, the amount of invitations are too many. If I have to attend to the invitations, we will do nothing else. For example, there are so many invitations on the coastal road that, a bird will write petition, we have to come and defend it. An ant will write petition, we have to come. No, I'm not against people complaining. But there should be preliminary investigation before we are being invited. Let people conduct preliminary investigation, even if to send the clerk of the committee to come and they find out facts. And somebody that is writing that is treated unfairly by our passing our coastal road, it's not bringing his CFO. It's not bringing any title documents. It's just sending one-page letter petition. By the way, we can't discuss the coastal road because the matter is in court. So I've told the PAM secretary to please write letters to those who are inviting us, over 10 invitations, to let them know that the matter is in a court. We are very obedient to the National Assembly. We attend to their invitations, but it will help all of us to save time and taxpayers' money by conducting preliminary investigation before we are invited, so that you have more facts, to engage us. So far, I commend the 2 committees on works, Rep and the Senate. They are really involved in oversighting the projects. They have visited project sites, they have made useful contributions, and I want to commend them very, very highly. And where we are, lagging behind, we are not God. We are open for discussion, we are open for correction, we are open for cooperation. So let me thank you very much. If you have questions, please do kindly ask. And so 17 years ago, the PAM secretary needed enough time to look for the documents of the project, which till today he has not totally found, enough instruments to respond to that. 17 years ago, and somebody has to put in television, embarrassing himself and his family, that 1 billion was paid, the job abandoned, and so it now looks as if we are the one that awarded the project and the job abandoned 17 years ago. So all this, agitations is because Mr. President is committed to doing these rules, to rewriting the history of these rules. Otherwise, where were these people 17 years back? If they were talking the way they are talking now, then we should have been able to arrest the situation in the past. But why do you have to put the sins of the past on us, undermining the efforts the president is making to right the wrongs? So it's not good. And so his children were so embarrassed. His friends, family relations. And I've asked him to, we write to Mr. Speaker to complain about that. Because we also have little self-esteem. It may not be as much as their own. We have families, we have friends. It is not right for us to be destroyed. 17 years ago, if there were preliminary investigation, one would have known that it's 17 years ago. And then the approach would be different. You know, you cannot say the PAM secretary awarded a project he did not award. You will say, yes, the government is continuous one. But will you get the sense of one government and put on another one? You know. So we will handle that Kaduna Zaria immediately. And we've asked the public, issues like this, we cannot do everything all at the same time. But we need to know where the problems are. And we'll be planning, you know, for it. We'll be planning for it. The climate change has dealt big blow on our roads and bridges. But one is not complaining. I was never born to complain, you know, with my able PAM secretary, and of course my brother, the new Minister of State, and the very hard-working directors were able to do it, you know. But let me say here, and it is important I make it public, that any road that is ongoing and we are having challenges of pothole, we will suspend the controller. We will suspend the controller. Because we've directed, when we launched Operation Take Back Our Roads about a month ago, and the PAM secretary wrote to everybody that where a road permanent work is ongoing, it is very important that we use part of the budget to repair the entire road so that people will be passing while the permanent work is going on. It's going on. Today, we are meeting with 2 contractors on Oduopani in E2 to cross river. We are meeting with them because that road is being in a very terrible state. Some people stay 7 hours on the road. We've done everything possible to beg the contractors. I don't want to mention their names. Just last week, 2 people got drowned because they used alternative route. They got drowned in the river. People missed their flight, staying 7 hours on the road. So I believe that the PAM secretary will again talk to the 2 controllers. But all through, anywhere we are walking, we don't want to see one single pothole there. That is very important. So we will work on that. Next one, yes.
Yes, my name is Mr. Abahada.
We can pay 30% to underscore the importance of that project to Mr. President. You know, there's no any other project he has given more attention, you know, than that Lagos, sorry, that Abuja Kano and the Bonny Road. You know. So he even said to me, go ahead and award the tax credit. No tax credit on that road because the president, you know, has so much value for that road. And so it is not just 740. You have to deploy in a minimum of 4 sections. And each section is independent, doing the same work. There will be no variation at all unless the dollar gets to 2,000, God forbid. You know, there will be no claim of VOP. There will be no claim on foreign exchange differential. And this is the same condition we are giving even to the legacy project, the coastal road. It is the same condition. And if we pay you 30%, even if the inflation goes up, we will not review that 30% we paid to you. These are what my colleague, FEMA chairman said that they are irrelevant issues. These are what he called irrelevant issues because he was representing an interest, and he called that meeting purposely to insult us because he didn't talk about. He even said that when Ministry of Work is given an envelope, they should give 20% to FEMA. Darkening council without knowledge. FEMA is giving an envelope. Ministry of Work is giving an envelope. We have a boss, Mr. President. If he wants that to happen, he will say so. But there are two different envelopes. And I think Mr. Speaker may have to, assign him to be co-chairman of, Committee on Works. He's very much interested in works, and our secret remains our secret, Yes, so if they are going to do it, they will do it. If they are not doing it, we will bring in two different contractors. And they will change the project from asphalt to concrete. We change it because we have done everything to make the same venture to do concrete, but they don't have concrete equipment. They have only one equipment, toy one for that matter, So we prefer the road, but the one we are awarding now is going to be done on concrete, So that is it. Be assured.